Okay, so this is Eugene, and I'm coming at you not from some icy sidewalk somewhere. No, I'm coming at you from my kitchen. Why? Because I was just feeling the cold today, and I thought this would be a good day to make soup. So I'm staying home to make soup. And this is probably the only day this week I'm going to have a chance to get out and do a video. So I thought, well, maybe you'd like to make soup with me. Doesn't even really fit in this channel, but maybe you could tell me if I ought to allow occasional videos that aren't walks out in the streets of the city in. Or maybe I should have a separate channel to do other more general vlogging things. I don't know, but I'm thinking about those things here in the new year. But meantime, today my wife Sheila requested an onion soup. So I'm going to make an inauthentic onion soup. How does that sound? Let's give it a go. So first thing is, I guess I'll give you a little tour of my tiny little kitchen. We have a little, would you call it a scullery when it's really tiny? I don't know. Anyway, it's not the thoroughly modern kitchen with the big island and all that stuff. It's just got a little workspace, a single sink. It does have, let's see if I can focus in, wrestling action figures, which are good to have. There's another one over here. And there is mosaic on our cupboards. I will say we have mosaic on our cupboards. We have some folk art or outsider art paintings over there. A dog named Bonnie. Say hi, Bonnie. And that's more art up on the walls. We're cooking with a gas stove over here. We got some blues accompaniment, and that's it. So we're ready to get to work. So we like onion soup. The traditional, authentic way takes a really, really long time, slowly caramelizing the onions. We're gonna accelerate the process a little bit. Take the lazy person's approach, and we're gonna caramelize the onions in the oven. That actually works pretty well. You know, I read on the internet that they call French onion soup because not because it's from France, but because the onions are Frenched, meaning that they're cut like, in long, thin strips. I wonder if that's true. It's on the internet. If it's on the internet, it's got to be true, right? So, anyway, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 onions. I don't know how many onions you really need for an onion soup, but I'm going to cut all these up and see how it looks. If it looks like I maybe need more, well, then I'll cut more. I'm sure there are chefs and even foodies out there who are going to say it's just not right. You don't do it the authentic way, but oh well. I'm sure by now some of the folks who come to this channel to go for walks with me have already bailed, since we've wimped out and we've stayed home today. But you know, the soup's going to be really good. And I figure if I'm not feeling the love on going out on the streets, I shouldn't do it because it's going to be reflected in the video. And I was feeling the love for making onion soup. So why not, huh? Why not? Okay, so I've got the onions going on a medium heat here with some combination of butter and olive oil, and I'm going to add a carefully measured amount of salt, and I also have a carefully measured amount of thyme. So I'm going to get all this covered and started here. In the meantime, I've got my oven. It's just heating up now. I'm heating it up to pretty hot, which is like 425 Fahrenheit. How can we still use Fahrenheit oven temperature? I don't think in metric oven temperature at all. I'm going to do the big cheat here and just open up the oven. And we're going to put the whole pan right there in the oven. And I'm just going to check it every little while and stir it around and let it get caramelized. All right, here. Let's check these things. Oh, actually, I can't check these things yet. I have to get an oven glove, because if I go in without the oven glove, that's just going to be painful. So okay, here we go. Oh, that's a pretty heavy pan. So it's starting to take on a bit of a amber color. Stick it back in the oven, and we're gonna check this every once in a while. You know, when I started using the oven for onion soup, I think I stole the idea. Well, it's not stolen, I guess, if it's freely offered out there. I think Food Wishes on YouTube, Chef John had a video about onion soup, and he used the oven to accelerate the process. So I thought, well, I can try it too. If it's good enough for an honest-to-God internet chef, it's good enough for a putz like me. So I'm going to go about my business and check back later. All right, here. We're starting to get some caramelization happening. Good, good, good. Well, I've got a bag of half a jicama in the fridge. The nice thing about jicama is you can do that. It doesn't go brown or anything. You stick it in the bag, stick it in the fridge. And I've cut up 2 apples, and I put a little bit of lime juice in the bottom of this bowl so the apples wouldn't go brown. And then I'm going to cut up this jicama. Jicama has an inedible skin. I find that I don't have the patience to do it with like a potato peeler. I usually just cut off the skin as best I can. And then I'm going to cut this down into pieces as I did the apples. Do you eat jicama? I quite like it. You can eat it raw. When I was in Hanoi recently, we went to this it's a little alley with kitty furniture in it, and they were making up sausages done different ways, and that sort of Vietnamese junk food, I guess you'd call it. And you got a combo platter, and it would contain French fries cooked in big woks, and also big chunks of jicama sliced up like apples. And they're really quite yummy. Anyway, I'm gonna just cut these into small pieces, add them into the apples. And we'll see what else I have that I can stick in this salad. Like to cook. I love cooking. I've always cooked. Something I felt at home doing for a long time. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that, well, I like to eat. I like to eat too much, if that's the God's honest truth. If that's what you need. The next step is to carefully cut up some cabbage into coleslaw. And whatever you do, don't use coleslaw in the bag, right? Like I'm doing. Okay, so we'll mix that in pretty good. And I have half a chili. You know, a few years ago when I was in Hanoi, I took a cooking class there, and guy was cooking, showed me how to cook something, and he was putting in these particular kinds of chilies. I think they might be cayennes or something like that. And I said, "Are those the ones you use at home?" And he looked at me for a minute, silently, and then he laughed and he said, "No, these are the tourist chilies." At home, he uses the little bird's eye Thai chilies. And it makes a big difference, you know. It really changes the complexion of the food when you kick it up like that. But for this salad, just a bunch of tourist chilies. It's just going to give it a bit of a zing, which is all I want. Got a couple more ingredients for the salad. One of them is walnuts, which I'm going to add at the last minute. So do nothing with them now. The other is some dried cranberries. And I'm going to cut these up a little bit finer than they've come to me. I don't know why. Just, you know, when I cook stuff, I cook it more or less by feel. And half the time I don't know what I'm doing. Which is why I like it, I think. It's fun. So I'm going to throw these ones in. And then I'm going to give this a really good stir and then work on some dressing for it. Going in for another check. Okay. Wow. These are starting to get good. Okay, I've got some mayonnaise. Would this be better with some homemade mayonnaise? Absolutely. So if you'd like to make me some mayonnaise, I will make the salad and we can share. How's that? I think that's loads of that. And I'm going to add a little bit of your basic sriracha sauce. And you know, I found in the fridge there was some pineapple, and there was some pineapple juice in there with it, so I'm going to try some of this pineapple juice in my dressing. Okay, well, one thing it needs, for sure, is a pinch of salt. And then, I think we're good. I think we can just take this dressing and add it in here. And mix everything about. I'm going to cover it and put it in the fridge and just let it absorb the flavors from the dressing for a while until dinner time. And just before we eat it, I'm going to toss in this much walnuts. Okay. This is starting to feel right. It's starting to get dark and starting to stick to the bottom and everything. So I'm just going to add a splash of red wine. And using that to deglaze the bottom of the pan so we get all that goodness. And then, wearing my oven glove, I'm going to move this pan off the stove. It would have been ideal if I had some homemade beef stock in the fridge or the freezer, but I don't. So I confess right now, I did buy some Campbell's beef stock, and I'm going to add that to this pan, which I have heating up. To attempt to transfer the stuff from in the pan without burning myself further into the soup pot. Uh-oh. Doesn't want to go. There we are. amount of onions is going to need a little bit more stock than I gave it, so I'm going to put in about another half container. So now we've got our stock mixed in with our onions, caramelized onions. I'm going to bring this up to a simmer. I'm going to put a lid on it, and I'm going to let it simmer away for about an hour. See you then. Okay, it's much later. We're doing our final prep here. Let's get a couple of these croutons happening in here. And I went to get Gruyere at the No Frills, and my No Frills didn't have anything called Gruyere. They had this generic President's Choice product called Swiss, and they had Emmenthal. I wanted Gruyere. So I used this generic Swiss, but I spiked it a little bit with some cheddar just to brighten it up a little bit. All right, I've loaded these things up here with all kinds of cheese, and then everything in our tiny kitchen is layered up here because we haven't got room. Okay, so I've got the broiler on, and I'm gonna just get these puppies in under the broiler until they're all nice and bubbly. Okay. We're going to try it out. Oh, yeah. Great. We're going to try a little bit of this too. Not too bad. Sorry, folks. Didn't get out for a walk today, but I did make some good soup. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like these videos, please subscribe. Leave me some comments. And who knows where I'll be next. Got some plans for some walks. I'll get out there soon. Sorry I wimped out today. Take care. Have a great day.